So what we're looking at right over here, we've got our reservoir bag. This is the part that you squeeze, and it's a self-inflating resuscitator, which basically means that when you compress the bag, it reinflates on its own. So it is a self-inflating type of device. So this is the reservoir. What you need to do is attach the optional reservoir. This is the optional reservoir. Attach the optional reservoir to the main reservoir that you squeeze. To do that, you need this valve assembly right over here. There's two valves on it. The one valve on the top here, it's a one-way valve. Its function is to allow excessive gas that's coming into the system that isn't required to vent into the atmosphere. It also has a one-way valve at the bottom, down here, and it opens in that direction as well. This one-way valve allows extra gas to come into the system when the oxygen coming into the optional reservoir and reservoir is insufficient to provide the BVM with enough gas for the next breath. So this valve is very important. You also need this valve to connect up the optional reservoir to the reservoir. So I'm going to simply attach the valve here, like so, attach it down there. So we've got that component set up. The next thing you want to attach is the patient valve assembly. And it's this valve assembly that allows the gas, when you squeeze the bag here, to direct gas flow from the bag into the patient. So gas flows in one direction to the patient. Now on exhalation, there's a negative pressure that's created inside this bag as it reinflates. And when that negative pressure is created, it pulls back the diaphragm that's in here backwards and it seals off this reservoir. It completely seals it off, which is really good because we don't want exhaled gases coming back into the bag. So where do those exhale gases go? Well, when this diaphragm pulls backwards, the ductbill inside of it closes. So the gas can only go in one direction, and that's out through the exhalation ports into the atmosphere. So when this is set up and it's tested and it's working properly, there is no rebreathing of exhaled gases that the patient might get for the next breath. So it's kind of foolproof, you can say. So let's put this system on as well. So we're going to attach it right here. Goes in. Now it's attached. The next thing is your oxygen tubing. Here's your oxygen tubing right over here. One end attaches to the adapter located right here. You just attach it to there. The other end would go to your oxygen flow meter once you hook your oxygen flow meter up to the wall. You could have a diameter index safety system fitting like this one, or you might have a quick connect safety system that has little pins in it that helps line it up properly to the wall outlet, or you could have what's called a keyed index safety system. That's keyed index safety system. Now before we put and attach the bagger to the tubing and to the wall source, we should pressure test our bagger. So we're going to do two pressure tests. One pressure test is the main one that you do, and that's assessing the integrity of the bag. So to do that pressure test, all you simply do is you take the optional reservoir off, and that includes this gas assembly as well. Don't leave it on when you're pressure testing, because it won't work. Take that off, right? There's your optional reservoir with that valve system, and simply occlude the patient end, like so. So I've got a really good seal on there, and then I'm going to squeeze the bag. So when I squeeze the bag, I should feel a lot of resistance. There should be no give, there should be no hissing sound, nothing like that. So when I pressure test this bag in this fashion, I cannot move the gas, it stays intact. So what that's telling me is that I have no leaks in the system at all, plus I don't have gas leaking out of the bottom going in the opposite direction that I want it to go. Because gas has to leave from here, and again, go out this patient valve assembly and head to the patient, right? So that was good. This pressure test worked. So there's an intact bag that I can use. Now the second pressure test kind of looks more after this valve mechanism over here to see if the ductbill works. So the gas only goes to the patient when the ductbill is open on inspiration and comes back out through the exhalation ports on exhalation. Aight. Plus it also checks to make sure that I don't have any cracks down here where the gas comes into the system. So what I do to do that test is I squeeze the bag, then I occlude the bottom of the bag. So you kind of see that it stays nice and flat. The bag shouldn't reinflate. If you've got your hand the palm of your hand, including those two inlets where oxygen comes in, or air comes in as well, if this reinflates, this isn't working. You've got some sort of leak down here, or the duckbill inside there isn't working either. Now you've got gas coming into your bag where it shouldn't be coming from the patient valve assembly. Remember, the patient valve assembly, gas only goes in when the duckbill's open on inspiration and comes out through the exhalation ports on exhalation. So when I let go of this, the bag should reinflate, which it does. So once I pressure tested it, and again, you don't have to do both, but at least do that main one. That's this pressure test here. Once you've done that, attach your optional reservoir, grab your oxygen tubing. Both ends are the same. If you have one that's got a small end, one that's got a wider one, the wider one goes on your flow meter, the smaller one attaches to the adapter here. So, tubing's on, attached appropriately, not going to come off. Now I'm going to take my flow meter. So I'm going to adjust the camera angle again. I'm going to take my flow meter and I'm going to attach my flow meter to my oxygen source. Turn to the right, turn clockwise. Remember, it's diameter index safety system for oxygen is specific to oxygen, so you cannot connect the wrong flow meters to the wrong outlet. So we've got oxygen here, medical air over here. So the flow meters are attached. Now all I have to do now is simply attach my tubing to the oxygen flow meter. When you're attaching when you're attaching the flow meter, the tubing to the flow meter, kind of hold on to the flow meter. Don't just simply go and push it on like that, because you could damage it here or damage the flow meter itself. Anchor and support the flow meter and then push the tubing on so it's not going to come off. Once you've done that, if you're doing bag valve mask ventilation, simply grab yourself an oxygen mask, which I'm going to do. Oxygen mask like so. Size it to the patient. Attach it to the 15 millimeter OD, 22 millimeter ID, and now you've got an oxygen source, or sorry, a manual resuscitator ready to go. At this point in time, turn your flow on. And to achieve maximal FiO2, whenever you're squeezing the manual resuscitator, there shouldn't be full collapse of that bag. If whatever rate you're using results in that bag collapsing, where it completely collapses, as you can see, the resuscitator is still going to work, but what you're doing is diluting the gas flow the patient's getting from near 100% to less than 100%. So there's going to be a certain amount of room air dilution that occurs inside the manual resuscitator, so that will affect the oxygen concentration your patient gets. So if that happens, based on the respiratory rate that you're using, simply turn the flow up so it stays distended. But not too great so that it causes end expiratory pressure here in your patient's airway when you're ventilating. Because if it's too excessive and this valve here can't take care of the excess gas coming in, the only place it can go if there's a closed system here is down into the patient. Okay? So not too little, not too much, just the right amount of oxygen flow. Okay? Turn that off. So in essence, that's how you set up a manual resuscitator for use. Always when you're seeing a patient, you're dealing with a patient care environment, make sure you wash your hands and employ the safe level of protection that you need to protect yourself from anything the patient might have, but also to protect the patient from any kind of bugs that might be floating around in that healthcare area. So always wash your hands and make sure you've got the proper amount of personal protective equipment that's required for that patient. So gloves, obviously, glasses, goggles, mask, face shield, potentially sterile gloves, a gown or a sterile gown, maybe a bouffant, anything that you need to make sure that you're safe with the patient and the patient is safe with you. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. If you like this video, please hit like and try to subscribe to my channel if you get a chance. And also send me suggestions for future videos. As long as I've got time, I'll try to get as much posts as I can. Thanks so much. Have a great day.